All right, hello. As she said, I am Rebecca Teleszky. I go by Becky, and this is my mentor, Maria Alizondo, and we both work at UCLA in California. I'm going to talk about my story, and Maria is going to talk about more detail on mentorship in general. I'm going to tell you how mentoring impacted me both as a student and as a new grad and a young professional. Let's go a few years back after I finished undergrad. I was living in Chicago working odd jobs that someone in our profession doesn't usually work. I was in real estate and I was also modeling. I didn't have much experience with 9-to-5 work life, and I definitely didn't have healthcare experience. I moved out to LA to continue modeling, and the time came to do my practicum, and I got placed at UCLA. Let's just say I was terrified. I didn't think I belonged in the professional realm at all. I didn't think I was intelligent enough. I wasn't confident. I didn't think I'd be able to complete the projects that they gave me, and I didn't think anyone was going to be nice to me. Overall, what I envisioned was not very positive. But I could not be more wrong. It was the exact opposite. The moment I met Maria, I was instantly relieved by how approachable, nice, intelligent, and real she was. She reminded me of me. The whole management team was the same way. They were always there to help guide me. Everybody worked with me to develop professionally and help me prepare for the real world. They helped me work on my interview skills, build my resume, and just have real talk. I was able to see how everything that I learned in school played out and everything came full circle. Maria knew that I didn't have a lot of professional experience in healthcare, so she volunteered to let me shadow her once a week. And I went with her to everything, meetings, calls, just talking. It was amazing. I learned so much at my practicum that when I left, I was ready to hit the ground running and apply for my first job in HIM. I knew I wanted to work at UCLA, so I secretly held out for it. I did apply to other jobs here and there, but I was waiting. And the day came and a position opened and I jumped on it. I am, and I was then, a recovery audit contractor. In that role, it is me and one other person. So the first week went as planned. We had a lot of training. It was so good to see everybody again. What you would expect for a first week. Week 2 rolled around, and I found out that my counterpart was moving and would be gone from UCLA by the end of the week. I went into full-blown panic mode. I didn't show it at work, but inside I was screaming. Here I am, a brand new employee, and they gave me a chance because they knew me as a student. I have no experience, and now I'm on my own. I'm definitely going to mess this up. I was convinced. So week 3 started. I didn't say anything, went to my desk, and just thought, okay, here it goes. Well, Maria, being intuitive, knew I wasn't okay. So she came to my desk that day, and I think we both remember the moment when she looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" And of course I said, "No." So she took me into her office and laid it out perfectly. What can I do to help you? What can we do to make you feel more comfortable? And let's come up with a plan to make you successful. We were able to devise a plan that let me have a strong support system within the organization and be able to look to managers and former people who had my position for help. Also, it's Maria's favorite thing to say, but everybody gets an A+ in their first month. So after that meeting, I felt beyond confident. I got to work the next day and I was ready to attack, and I did. So much so that by week 5, I was training the new hire. So Maria's convo left me with a lot. The confidence to succeed in my role and know that I can, learning so much from just sitting with her for a few minutes, and knowing more than anything that I needed her as a permanent mentor in my professional life. Being so new to the professional world, I didn't know if this was appropriate. I didn't know if you could ask somebody within your organization to mentor you, let alone the director of the entire department. So I reached out to my mom's friend, who is a director in a different department at a hospital in Chicago. She was an amazing resource and gave me literature to read, helped me plan a way to talk to Maria about asking her to mentor me, and reassured me that me wanting a mentor this early on in my career was a trait of success. So I went into work the next day, I emailed Maria, I said, "Can you talk?" She said, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "It's more than okay." And I went into her office, I skipped the slide. I went into her office and said the same things I've said to you today. I asked her if she would be my mentor, and she said yes. We now have scheduled mentor meetings in addition to her open door policy. I rely on Maria for many things: to help me see the big picture and remind me of my goals and what I'm working towards, to push me and help me when my confidence may be sinking, to answer my constant questions, give me feedback, and her honest, unbiased opinion, whether it be good or bad. She's someone that will present new opportunities for me and help me hone in on my strengths and improve on my weaknesses. She's someone that I can relate to and truly trust, somebody that I look up to and somebody that I can see myself in their seat one day. She has a management style that I fully believe in and want to replicate. She empowers me by the way she handles and approaches all situations. And she's somebody that I learned so much from just sitting with her for a few minutes. Most of all, she's somebody that will be there for me. And that's what I truly believe mentorship is about. A great example of this is right before we left for convention, I was starting to get nervous, and I emailed her saying, "Can you talk today?" And she wrote me back sometimes, but the most important thing she wrote back is, "I am here for you," in all caps. And that is exactly what I needed to hear, that somebody was there in this professional space and knew what I was going through and was there to support me. I am so proud to say I've accomplished more than I've ever imagined in my short time in the HIM world. I had my first journal piece published by the CHIA, the California Association. I'm here speaking at my first national convention, and I am so proud to say that I am officially moving into a supervisory role in the next month at UCLA. I also have a mentee who's in her last year of school, so I'm helping her prepare for graduation and her RHIA exam. It's really nice to be on both sides of the spectrum. Even though I developed my own personal space at UCLA and worked extremely hard to get where I am, none of it would have been possible without the amazing support I get from Maria and the whole management team at UCLA. They are always there to help guide and coach me, and most of all, be my friend. I encourage anyone who feels like they need a little guidance to reach out to a mentor. It doesn't have to be professionally only. It could be for any area of your life. Think about this. Sometimes an obvious solution isn't so obvious without an outside perspective. However, students and new grads, I especially encourage you to find a mentor. It's very crucial at this stage. You don't see everything big picture yet, and having a mentor could really be that extra push you need to get to the next level. The last thing I want to leave you with is this: SHIP, SHIP. Friendship, relationship, mentorship. It's all a mutual relationship. There is a lot of sharing, giving, and learning on both ends, which makes it both beneficial and wonderful for both parties. I know that every time I sit with Maria, I thank her for her time and guidance, but she also thanks me for all that she learns from me. So if you're scared to ask somebody to be your mentor or think somebody is too busy, just remember that mentors wouldn't do what they do if they didn't benefit and enjoy it. So go out. I challenge you to ask that person to mentor you today. I am so thankful for all that I have been given professionally and all that I have experienced thus far and the people I get to surround myself every day with in the workplace. Thank you so much for letting me share my story. And now I would like to turn it over to my mentor, Maria Alizondo.
Good morning. Good morning. There, now we're talking. So that's a really difficult thing to follow because Becky is amazing. But I want to first thank some of the speakers that shared with you some of their experiences earlier today. A lot of what you heard is a lot of what we talk about in HIM for those of us that have maybe been practicing for a little while longer and have been out there mentoring, teaching, leading teams. Every single thing that I heard this morning is spot on. I hope that all of you will take a little bit of that back with you and use that to develop your practice. So the title of our presentation today is Mentorship, the Practice of Mentorship. And I just want to start off by saying that one of the things that I'm very passionate about is leadership, and how we each individually and together develop our own leadership within the HIM profession. And we also heard a little bit about what the AHIMA Foundation is doing in terms of developing leadership practice and developing new and current HIM professionals for leadership roles within the healthcare continuum. So they sent us a few questions to focus on in order to prepare us to provide you with sort of our takeaways and our experiences in this mentorship space. And I just wanted to share with you a few things, a few thoughts. So first, caveat, I love to talk about HIM. I love it, love it, love it. I could go on and on, but I was told I only get 15 minutes, so I'll try to keep it brief. Just forewarned, just so you know. So why did I want to be a mentor? How many of you remember the ACE program? It's still with, AHIMA still has that program, the ACE, where you can sign up to be a mentor. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Well, we started this quite a number of years ago, and folks that were in the HIM profession were encouraged to sign up, and they could have students or other HIM professionals who needed mentors link up with an HIM professional through the AHIMA site. And so I've been mentoring students and young professionals for quite some time. And I'll be very honest with you, the reason that I enjoy mentoring or that I like to mentor, number one, is to give back. I view mentorship as an opportunity to coach new professionals, because I'm not going to be a director forever. And I want whoever's coming in behind me to have those skills that I know today and maybe in the future are going to be critical. So I want to mentor people. I want to coach you. I want to give you the tools, the information, and all of the advantages that I have and that I've learned over my career. I think that in order for me to be the best at what I do, to develop my individual HIM practice, I have to give back. That's the only way that I can help the membership and help not just at a local level, but at a membership level as well. So I take that very seriously. And I know that there are plenty of other HIM professionals that do the same. There's lots of mentorship going on, and it's just a critical component to being in this profession. Right? I heard someone a couple of speakers ago talking about how we have to educate others on what we do. If you're going to be an HIM professional, you just have to get used to that notion. You're going to be telling people what we do. And it's even beyond that elevator pitch. It's really talking to senior leadership in a way that is meaningful so that they understand that what we do is not about filing anymore, okay? We are not record librarians anymore. Our HIM practice is so diverse, and it's exciting. Like, I'm getting chills right now. Seriously, I'm getting chills. So I wanted to talk a little bit about who mentored me. I always say this when I go to my component local associations and I talk to students, and I'll be very honest with you, I had an advantage. I am the daughter of an HIM professional. So I was, mom's convention buddy, and I would go to the state conventions, and she would introduce me around. And I learned very, very early the value of that. Not just, I know all these people, but that I got to understand and really talk to them about why they were in the profession and what they enjoyed about it and why it mattered to them and their families. Some of the folks that I've gotten to know are the first professionals in their family. They're the first ones with a college degree. They're the first ones to work at a level in a business environment that can't be matched. I mean, we need to understand what that does to individuals and to families and how that lifts them up. I just find that to be incredibly empowering. And getting chills again, so this is number 2 chill time. And then, you know, I got my credential kind of in a roundabout way. I was actually working at UCLA Health at the time, and I started out, I was scheduling appointments in the clinic, and, you know, Mom was pushing me, well, go get your RHIT, go get your RHIT. Okay, Mom. So I did, and I was at East Los Angeles College. Anyone know about East LA? No? Yeah, yay! Okay, we got a couple out there. So I went to East LA College, and Leah Davidson was the chair of the Health Information Technology program at East LA College, and she was amazing. So she was a mentor to me. I'm lucky to say that my mother was a mentor to me, but there are also a number of just amazing HIM professionals in my career, and even non-HIM professionals. I worked with a nurse when in my career, who taught me some things. One thing that Becky mentioned was everyone has an A. And when I started working with her, I remember my first week. I was also very nervous, believe it or not. Yes, I was. And she had given me a project, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And she said, look, everyone gets an A. Y'all start with an A. I see your resume, and I know you can do the job, but I don't have any other information, so you get an A. It's up to you to keep it. And that always stuck with me. It was so simple, but it was powerful too, because I thought, cool, I got an A. But now I need to prove that not only am I up to that challenge, but I'm going to get an A+ and do even better. One of the other questions that was brought up as a topic to consider was, what does mentorship look like? So just a show of hands, because I wasn't here at the very, very beginning, how many are in leadership roles within the HIM space? Or we're all students? We've got one of my managers here. No? Okay. Second career? Nice. So of those in your second career, have you been in roles of responsibility, manager, directors in your previous careers? Right. So, exactly. So this is brand new. I would venture to guess that it's a little scary. And I'm also going to guess that you've probably told, even though you've had that experience in the past, you're starting brand new from square one. I'm sure you've gotten that information as well. One of the things about mentorship is, another way to think about it is coaching. How do we, as HIM professionals, develop ourselves and others through coaching? Sometimes coaching is it can be very local. It's a one-on-one, a simple, someone, maybe a friend has an issue or a concern about what should they take. They've got 2 job opportunities. Which one should they take? And you listen to them, and you both talk it out, and you try to provide your own experiences and help guide them. That's coaching. You don't have to be the director of a health system. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to be a supervisor. You don't have to be any title at all to be able to provide that essence, that little piece of assistance to someone that's looking for it. So one of the things that I decided to do early in my career, after my first directorship, I was the director of HIM at St. John's, and this is in Santa Monica in California. And I started to become more and more involved with volunteering and with the local association in Southern California. And I really saw the need. The majority of the people going to our meetings were students. And they were there, and they were really wanting to reach out. And I saw that they were having a hard time finding places for their practicums. I mean, truth, I had to call 5 places to find a practicum site. Okay, right? How many are having some difficulty? So we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to figure out how can we solve that gap? What do we need to do as HIM professionals within this sphere? And because I'm in a position where I can actually make something happen, how can I take on that responsibility and again, give back and develop my practice so that I'm encouraging students and providing for them the opportunity for their practicum? So when I was at Stanford, we actually developed just the very beginnings of a program that now at UCLA Health has come into fruition. And essentially what we've done is our student practicums, we usually take about 3 students a year. Every single student is matched with a manager, and we do not put students next to people to do work. All of our practicums are project-based. What that means is that, for instance, Leslie, raise your hand. Leslie's one of my managers. She will look at the resume of a practicum student. She'll say, oh my gosh, this person has this interest. Oh, I've got a project for her. And so now she's matched with that student for that student's practicum. That doesn't mean that the student doesn't meet with me or doesn't meet with our operations manager or our cancer registry, but that student is going to have at least 2 projects that are meaningful and productive and that help them to grow and understand that there is a new way to do HIM today. I'm not going to sit you in assembly, well, there's no more assembly in our world, right? I'm going to sit you in analysis and try to look at all the deficiencies. You should understand what that is, but I'd rather figure out what's a project that we can develop so that student can understand the why, not just the how. And we have found that to be very, very meaningful for our practicum students. Every student comes with different wants and different needs. Sometimes we have students that are just really, they're all about coding. And so we can do that too. But it just really begins with that conversation. So the first time a student comes, their first day, they get, I call it my little practicum spiel, because they get to sit with me for about an hour, and I talk to them about what the expectations are, what the advantages are, what we're here to do for them. So our approach is that our practicum students, this is a job. You tell me what your hours are going to be and when we can expect you. If you're not going to be in, we want to get an email so that we know, if we have something planned. You will be attending meetings with us. You will be on conference calls. I think, Becky, you even did a training session we had you do one time. So there's real opportunities there. And this is how the management team and I have together collaboratively developed a program within our department to help our practicum students. I know that other institutions are doing the same thing to varying degrees of specificity. It just depends on, the organization. And then lastly, just a couple things. I also heard some of our speakers talk about, well, how can I find a mentor? And I think, Becky, you said it so nicely. Just ask. We love to be asked. You have no idea. You may be nervous, and you maybe think, oh, they're going to say no. No, we really love to be asked. One of the things that I work on the board for the state of California is this idea of service and getting volunteers. And some of the feedback that we get from folks is they want to be asked. Sometimes people want to be asked, we need you. We need your service. Would you consider doing, this or that? And that's really impactful when you think about it. The fact that it's that simple. And yeah, okay, so maybe every once in a while you'll get a no, or not at this time, or I don't have the time. That's okay. It gets you in that mode of the ask. My sense is you probably won't get very many no's. So just ask. The other thing is, if you are in an organization, let's say you just started, you're working in HIM, and it's great and you're happy, but you really want to see strategically, where do I go? What's my next thing, right? Put your hand up when they're asking for volunteers. Always, always. And I tell this to my staff all the time. We have projects all the time, and we will ask, okay guys, we are gonna be doing this or that. I need 3 or 4 people. I wanna see hands up. I'm speaking to you as a manager, as a director. I wanna see hands up, because that tells me a lot. That tells me, number 1, you're motivated, you're engaged, number 2, and that you have an eye on increasing your subject matter expertise and developing yourself. And that's huge. Thank you. I told you I was going to go over. I told you I like to talk about HIM. All right. And I will finish right here. The last thing is, and I talked about this just very briefly, was service. How many of you are volunteering at the local or at your state? 1, 2, got some spattering of hands? Great. I cannot tell you enough how critical that is. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. And I know you may think, oh my God, I'm so busy with school, and I have a family, I have children, I have work, I have all of these competing commitments. Sometimes that volunteerism is just 1 conference call a month. And you give your voice, you give your expertise, and what you gain is immeasurable. It's that act of service. And so the last thing I want to say is it was really hard to come up here because I was moved to tears. You're so generous. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone.